used last time, or is this the same one?
No, same one. These people need to fucking sponsor me already. But same platform, still thugging it out the same way, man. You know how that goes.
Hey, so you have a sponsor with Anchor or what?
Yeah, bro. I hit a certain amount of some streams, dude, and they hit me up for like a little deal, like, you know what I mean, for a little ad sponsorship. So I rolled with it. You know what I mean? Tried to, trying to keep my options open. You know what I mean, with as far as making money. I'm not a huge advocate for Anchor. I mean, it does, it is the home of my podcast. You know what I mean? It's been the easiest way I've ever podcasted or even thought about podcasting. So, but yeah, I'm almost done with that one. I'm almost done with that.
And you're on everything now, right? You're on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and Anchor, and what else?
God, yeah, fucking Breaker, Google Podcasts. I'm on like 10 different platforms.
You heard it, guys. So, if you guys want to listen to this one back or hear any other of Corpse's podcasts, make sure you guys check them out. It's The Smoking Section, Smoking Section. I put Smoking Session on my title, but I'll edit it. But yeah, Smoking Section, The Smoking Section on pretty much all podcast platforms. So check them out. Jordan said, "What up?"
Oh, what up, my man, main man Jordan.
Yeah, so it was good, bro. How was North Carolina?
It was good, dude. Happy Thanksgiving as well to you, bro.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. I don't know how taboo it is to tell Indians Happy Thanksgiving, so I just wanted to be low key about that
one. Yeah. Nah, dude, it was good. Me and my son flew in, and then honestly, bro, just posted up. Like, all my nieces and nephews would come over by the pad and shit, so it'd be playtime, everyone's playing. I'd babysit, watch, whatever, and just sisters dropping in and out, coming by, whatever. So it was good. It was good just to kind of relax, have everybody around me at the same time, you know what I mean, and see family.
Good, man. That's good. I'm glad you got out there, because I know you've been grinding lately, bro. Especially with this, with this other shit you got going on. I don't know if you want to talk about it too much on the internet, but yeah, bro, that shit's. I know you've been grinding, bro.
Yeah, dude, and likewise, dude. You've really. It's been crazy to watch and always see, your name popping up with the lives and stuff, dude. And it's crazy to think that, like, not too long ago, you're like, yo, like, hey, my man, I'm finna take this leap. I'm finna take this jump real quick. And it's like, all right, go for it. And you're really doing it, man. It's crazy.
It's been rough. I promise you. There's not endless nights where we're, me and my group are talking with each other and just talking about the numbers, and it's just like, it's not where we want it, but we know with ambition and just consistency, it's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, you know how it is, bro. You've even said the last time we spoke on the phone just about just tweaking something a little bit different that you didn't even know that you had to tweak, with speaking differently or not hesitating on the things that you speak on, has blown your podcast out of the water. And it's just, sometimes it just takes tweaking something or a little transition, and we haven't found it yet, but I promise you we will.
Dude, and that's one thing, even like the last time we were talking about, like, it was good. Like, we were talking about kinds of stuff, man. And one thing you said was like how you like to keep your viewing and the atmosphere that you bring to your streams. You like to keep it playful, keep it lighthearted. And it's like, it's good to see that even though that you guys are trying to have this playful atmosphere, it still doesn't go without refinement. Like, comedians refine their jokes. You know what I mean? They work out these punchlines and these bits and shit. And so even for you guys who are trying to keep everything cool, you guys are not trying to get all into all this other different shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's good, though, to see and hear that you guys are still trying to refine y'all's purposes, man. Because
yeah, well, my take on that is You know, I mean, you know that behind this camera, when I'm playing video games, I'm pretty much the same person as if we were just kicking it, having a couple beers at your crib. You know, so my goal with streaming was to not like have a character and not be something different, because I didn't want to have to put a new, you know, that same face on every single time that I am streaming, whether we're doing this podcast or whether we're playing video games or doing something, because it's just so easy to be naturally yourself. But creating a safe space for the way that I look at streaming is this is a place for people to, you know, kind of come together in the chat, and I'm just the base of that. They're the ones that build the community around that. So you know, once I start coming out about like, oh, I feel this way about something, or I feel this way about something, you know, it kind of deters people away from that. So that's why I've always tried to keep it just fun, just entertainment, just the video games, because when it becomes something else, then that's where separation happens. You know what I mean? That's where, oh,
Mm.
I agree with him on these things, so I'm going to keep watching him, or I disagree with him, so I'm going to go and now I'm going to, you know, watch somebody else because I disagree with the statements that he's making. And that's not what I never wanted that. I always want this to be a mutual standing ground for everybody, because it is just entertainment at the end of the day. But when you and I had that conversation on the phone the other night, last night when I was talking to the stream, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this on Facebook, because that is where a majority of my viewership comes from. But as I thought about it throughout the day, I was like, you know, I shouldn't hesitate because I'm scared that somebody's going to take something the wrong way. I know that a lot of the people that are in this community will listen through for the whole context of everything. They're not just going to take a sample of what I say and then blow it out of proportion and no longer want to hang out. And if they do, then, you know, then that's fine. But I have full faith that whoever listens to whatever we're talking whatever we're talking about tonight will understand how my personality already is, and then understand the full context of the conversation that we're having. So that's why I decided to stream on both platforms today. Plus, you know, I already know that whatever the dynamic between both of us when we speak about things is super dope, and you know, so fuck it, bro. Let it be organic, and whoever fucks with it, honestly.
Yeah, I even remember back in the day, like we had a discussion one time, and you know, we were kind of, and it was during the time of a lot of like canceling, cancel, and it was like, I remember thinking like, and saying like, dude, well, fuck those people. Like, I'm gonna say what I want, you know what I mean? And but even then, like, I still felt myself tiptoeing around certain discussions and conversations or questions or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, I had to remind myself of like, you know, like fuck these people, like, and I only say these people because it's like the people who fuck with the community and fuck with what we're doing, like they're more than these people, right? They're my supporters. They're the community. They're the fools who are checking in with the smoking section. You know what I mean? Who tap in? Was like, you know, it was good. So not y'all, but the people who want to take 15 seconds out of a 3-hour discussion, or take one piece of my opinion and then try to drape it around me as to, you know, or drape it around whatever discussion I might be having. Is like, you know, I just realized it's like, dude, whatever, y'all get mad, like, you know what I mean, get mad, whatever, because it's like, to me, it's like you already came into this discussion with a preset idea, like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, of what it means to have certain stances or values or morals or opinions on things, you know what I mean? So I've always fucked with our combos, bro, because our conversations have always went 10, 15, 30 different ways, you know what I mean? Playing
Always, man.
advocate on both sides.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've found myself in a lot of situations where people get upset because I do like to play the devil's advocate. A lot of times in situations and conversations, I won't give my stance on things right away. I'll play devil's advocate first to, you know, get the feel of the conversation at hand, or the other person's opinion or their stance on what we're talking about, and then after that, I'll give my opinion or my stance on things. And I've found that a lot of the time when you do that in a situation, it makes the other person uncomfortable, and with that uncomfortableness comes aggression and comes anger. So that's where the debate and that's where the heated conversation comes in. And a lot of times it can be good, and it can be beneficial because you can kind of steer that in a direction that you want to. But a lot of times it can be bad too, especially before you've said your portion of how you feel. People automatically already assume that you feel the opposition or opposite of how they feel because you're playing devil's advocate. So it's a gray area for me to play devil's advocate, but I know with certain people like you, I can do that because you're open-minded and you allow yourself to think on both sides. And that's where I feel like that's where we're kind of drifting off in this day and age where we're at right now, is that people don't want to hear both sides, or they refuse to look at it from the other side. I mean, a lot of things that my mother told me, I take a lot of the way that I am now because of things that my mother told me and a lot of people's mothers told them in the past that we never really listened to until now that we're older. And my mother always said, well, walk a mile in that person's shoes and then see how you feel, or imagine how they feel after walking a mile in those people's shoes. So it's that, and treat others how you want to be treated. Those are like the two main keys that a lot of people in the society now are missing. They're so quick to automatically jump on or jump down somebody's throat because they feel the opposite without understanding why they feel the opposite. And this touches, I know there was some points that you wanted to bring up today, and that is probably one of the main points to why people can't continue to have conversations after they disagree with each other, is because a lot of people close themselves off once they find somebody that disagrees with them, instead of understanding why they disagree with them.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because of, see, and I really do think it's further. Before I would blame it on social media, like that people, it's just so easy to block people on social media. You want to be able to say something witty and catchy in response to an opinion or to a stance, so that you get the likes and that you get this X, Y, and Z. This validation. But I think it just goes even further to where it's like, I just believe because we have became so adept to social media that even off of it, we have this need for these short-winded, prefabricated responses. The racist card, the transphobic card, the homophobe card. I'm going in on it. You play these cards, like these fucking prefabricated, like you've been practicing this shit in the fucking mirror. You've been waiting for somebody like me to come along and have a different opinion of you so that you could throw this fucking zinger out. But it's like, and I find it crazy because like us, we can get way off script. We have these things we've thought of, and obviously, because we have our opinions, but we can get way off script and be like, this person's now challenging what I've not only thought of in my own head, but what's something I might already believe. I might actually believe this shit that I'm thinking in my head is true. I might actually believe that that's the way that life is.
Yeah.
And I think so. And so to wrap my point, and we've talked about this as well, is I feel like people can't handle that part. They think that once their beliefs and these superstitions and these things that they hold on so dear to, like that their world just comes crumbling around them, bro. Their world begins to crumble around them if it's challenged, or if they may actually be presented with new information that might make some fucking sense, right?
That's the biggest part right there.
I don't know.
Yeah, so Kevin makes a good point. He just says that people have forgotten that everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Just the way that we have our own opinion, people forget that other people should be entitled to their own opinion as well, and that opinions aren't an attack against you or against what you disagree with. But if everybody had the same idea and everybody had the same opinions on the same topic, you wouldn't be able to progress. There'd be no progression. There'd be no, and I agree with that statement because, if you have an idea. Oh, okay. Like the shirts, right? We did the collaboration together, and we went through, I think, 4 different variations of it. And like you would send me you would send me the art, and I'd be like, okay, let's do it like this and like this, and then you'd be like, oh, I like this, and then I'd be like, okay, if like add that and then do this and then we'll put this together, and then it came out, I think, in my opinion, as the best piece that we could have had, because both of us were able to put our 2 cents into things. And like even when coming up with the name Kagini, I mean, like you and I like sat down and had a conversation, and we were like, okay, this is what I think, and you were like, this is what I think, and boom, it came together, and that shows progression. You know, I mean, that's a simple little anecdote about it, but that alone. And like, even if you would have said, oh, I don't like that, or I would have said, oh, I don't like that, then we would have understood, okay, well, let's go a different route with it then, or let's go a different route with it then. Like, that's how it can be that easy. It can be that simple. But you brought up the perfect thing is social media. And I never even really thought about like the blocking thing. I never thought about that, but that is such a perfect example of how easy it is to block somebody out of a conversation, of your mind, or of some type of argument. It is that easy. I mean, we even see it now. If there's some type of feud that goes on, especially like with celebrities or something, the first thing they do is block them on Twitter, block them on Instagram, block them on this, block them on that. Like, why is it that social media has such a high power to be able to do that, instead of people sitting down and having a conversation with each other to try and figure out their differences? You know what I mean? It's absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild. You literally can apply that process to any topic and the same outcome would emerge. Science, for instance, if we didn't have scientists challenge each other results, we would not be where we are today. That's absolutely true. Even just making an attempt to understand someone else's point of view goes a long way. Absolutely. 100%. I believe that 100% is that if you try, even if you disagree with somebody to the highest degree, there's no way that they can change your mind. If you try and understand why that person thinks that way, you now both hold so much power, because you're understanding why you think the way you do, they're understanding why they think the way they do, and now you guys are both understanding why you guys each think the way each other thinks, and that's where you can smooth the surface there. Like, okay, I understand that you will think that way, and I can't change your mind, but we agree on 90 other 90 other topics. Just this topic alone we don't agree with. It's fucking wild, bro. It's wild.
See, my thing is I even think of is I think of the believer, right, to an atheist, right? And so for me, right, there's no way that I would ever be convinced that there's not a God, right? I'll put that out there. There's no way I could ever be convinced. But I can understand how one could believe what they believe, right? I understand why you might feel that way or you might believe that. For me, in my reality, in my fucking head, I just can't wrap my brain around it. And my thing is, I'm hoping people understand what they could take away from something like that, right? Because some people, you get into these super, who are on one side of either aisle, they're like, man, I can't hang out with somebody who believes in fairy tale people who live in the clouds. And then you got the other people like, yo, I can't believe there be somebody who's just godless. To me, I just say, well, I need that person to exist because they helped me be more rooted in my belief. I understand, like, you don't believe in a God, but I do. So that actually makes me believe in it even that much more. Because the more you may question me, like in conversation or in debate, the more you question me, the deeper I fall into my faith. Because I'm going to explain this shit. I'm going to just tell you, bro. Like, listen, dog. Listen, bro. I got the riddles. Like, like.
That's funny that you brought. That's funny that you brought that one up, because I know when you posted on your Instagram story for podcast ideas, somebody I remember seeing somebody had mentioned people that push religion onto others.
Mm-hmm.
It was something along those lines, and it's funny. I was just talking to my mom today. Because for a long time I didn't believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time I didn't. Not saying that I believe in God. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the God that everybody says there is. But I do believe in there is a higher being. I believe that it is impossible for this I literally just had this conversation with my mom. I believe that it is literally impossible for this whole world that was created, and for I broke it down to that everything is so intertwined with each other to the point where a man was born with a penis and a woman was born with a vagina, and you insert the penis into the vagina in order to create life. Like, that is such a purposeful design for that just to be coincidence that it happened like that. But it's crazy because it took me a long time, like into my 20s, to realize that like what I believed. But both my parents are very, very religious. Like, my mom studied Catholicism, went to Catholic school, and my dad is very religious, like most Mexicans from Mexico are. So for me to grow up and be baptized and then be able to freely think by myself and then come to a realization that I finally came to, like, it's very, very hard to not believe in that. But I do believe that it is poor to push your beliefs and your religion onto somebody. Like a lot of religious people, like actual religious people, won't do that. What I've learned is that what they'll do is they'll understand that they believe in their religion, and they'll understand that if their religion is the truth, so let's take Catholics for example, right? They'll understand that if Catholicism is the truth, then God will find his way into their hearts eventually, and to not push onto it. So I do think that pushing not only religion but most of your beliefs, any of your views onto somebody to force them to think the same way that you think is very, very wrong. Like, very, very wrong. You shouldn't do that at all, because we have not only do we have freedom of speech, but we have free minds as well. Like, we were given these minds by whoever it is. If it was science, then let it be science. Well, we were given these minds to freely think whatever the fuck we want to think, whether it's religion or any other opinion that we have on this world. So pushing your whatever, your faith or your beliefs of anything onto somebody is 100% negative. 100%.
Yeah, I don't. And sometimes it makes me even feel that people challenge you in these ways, as individuals were challenged in these ways just so people can confirm their own bias, right? It's not even that they believe it that much. It's just this is all they got to hold on to. So therefore, they're about to push this shit onto you so hard because they need you to believe it too. Because then it's going to make them feel better about believing what they believe in. And I can't fuck with that. And like you're saying, like, I believe wholeheartedly, for me to push a belief onto someone, or to push a certain perspective into somebody's head, right, is just so far outside my moral, not only responsibility or obligations. If you ask me, hey, Putch, do you pray over your food with your son? Yeah, I do. Do you want to hear a prayer? No? Okay, cool, fine, right? I mean, you could go our whole life and never ask me if I pray with my son. It's not going to hurt me. It wouldn't, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, he never asked. I wouldn't be like disrespected, It's like, those are the things.
You don't want to hear my prayer with my son, motherfucker?
I know, how dare you fucking son of a bitch. But it's like, it's stuff like that, man. And even as far as, to even kind of even just trickle all the way back, like, for people to sit here and not have the ability to disagree on things, I think pulls all that weight in there as well. You know what I mean? It's like,
no, but hold on, to touch back on what you were saying, because I was making this point for a reason, and you said something along the lines of pushing your faith because it makes you, or not only your faith but your opinion, because it makes you feel better that other people feel the same way that you do. And honest to God, that is how I view our society today, right now, everything that's going on. And it circles back to going all the way into it, the racist, the transphobic, the homophobic, all that shit that you're talking about, that you brought up, relates back to that one thing. I feel better, and I want you around if you feel the same way that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And for somebody to come in and challenge that, now you are the enemy. We could be friends for 10 years. I could be friends with somebody for 10 fucking years. But I say something outlandish to them, they cut all ties with me, bro. I could have gone to Christmas with your family and broke bread at Thanksgiving with them, but because I believe politically something is wrong or right, and they don't, now I'm thrown out the fucking window, and that is wrong. That is like, if I cause no harm to you, no violence, I didn't fuck you over in any fucking way. How can my words hurt you? How can my
Mm-hmm.
words hurt you? It's funny. I saw a clip today. I saw a snippet today that said, if somebody's words can hurt you, then you will never be successful. If you
Yeah.
say, oh my God, your opinion hurt me, you will never be successful because you will not make it past anything. Because no matter what you do, it could be this podcast right here that we're doing. Somebody somewhere is going to hear this and be like, fuck these two crazy ass motherfuckers. They have no idea what they're talking about. Like, it's going to happen. I promise you, it's going to happen. And like, that is always going to exist in the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
always going. And think about it. Think about it. I may have thicker skin because of the business that I was in. Because you sold cars with me, bro. You were right there.
Yeah.
You know what real rejection feels like. That it doesn't feel good. But once you get past being able to get through that, you know that there's success on the other side of it. So words do not hurt, dude. Words do not hurt. I mean, I remember being a kid and we used to say that, like, na 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 boo boo, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me, it sticks back to you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like we used to say that, where sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt me. Like, where are those values today? Where are those values today? We don't I mean, I do, but we don't teach our kids in society these days that anymore. You know what we teach our kids in society? That my son can go to school wearing a dress and it's okay. That's what we teach kids like these days. Yeah. That's what that's what we teach them, bro. Well, how are we creating success, and how are we setting them up for the rest of their lives by not teaching them the base core values that we learned as kids? How? Well, if anything, if I teach my kid what I'm talking about right now, and somebody from this new generation comes and sees how I talk to my son and how I'm raising my son, and I believe that I'm raising my son to be a gentleman. Yes, thank you, no ma'am, all this stuff, and excuse me, cover your mouth when you sneeze, all that shit. If somebody from this new generation sees how I'm raising my son, they're gonna tell me that I'm doing it wrong because I'm not looking at the things in society that need to be taught. And fuck that. Like, how am I, like, nobody's really gonna care if my kid comes to school in a fucking dress. Nobody's gonna fucking care. Like, why are we putting that out in the fucking world? No, like, if my kid goes to work and he's 5 minutes late, I care more about that than if he wore a fucking dress to school. Yeah. Honest to God. Honest to God.
Yeah, I think what a lot of that even boils out to, dude, is we are starting to be led by a generation of kids, young people, right? And I say even kids, meaning anybody 35 and younger, right? Because we are the kids. Like, our parents are now the grandparents, you know what I'm saying, of all of our babies, right? We were the kids.
We can't call them babies anymore. We have to call them babies.
No fucking way. No fucking way. So
I'm fucking with you. I just wanted to throw a fucking wrench in there real quick. I'm just fucking with you.
So our little homies, right? Our little homies who are coming out, you know, now are starting to kind of come out of college and come out of this and come out of that. They're the ones pushing most of the agenda, right? And that's fine.
Do you believe there is an agenda?
What do you mean?
Well, what agenda do you mean they're pushing?
So they're pushing this new agenda, right? And what this is an agenda created by people who they've never really experienced hardship, right? Like, what have you guys really went through? Even us. What was the worst thing we went through? 9/11. right? Like 9/11 was probably the most impactful thing that had ever happened to us, right? And even then, that didn't affect us the same way that like Vietnam affected our generation of young men because they were out there in the fucking jungles. You get what I'm saying? Or World War II, right? So
Well, but I think with the 9/11 thing, just to cut you off real fast, I think because I was so young when that happened, I was 10 years old when that happened. There was a lot more unity and togetherness in the country for like 4 to 5 years during that time than there is right now. Than there in the world right now. So it did create some type of effect onto the world, but it wasn't everlasting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once they came out and was like, hey, there wasn't really weapons of mass destruction and all this shit. It was like our American identity kind of crumbled a little bit. You know what I mean? Where we were like police of the world and the big brother of the globe type of feel. They definitely fucked that up, and I think ever since then. So think about that, right? So since about 2000 and 2008ish, there's been this narrative of damn, the government lies to us. They need to be more straight up, this and that, and it's like, so when you start taking that, when you create that distrust in the people who set your standards, then everything else starts to become questioned. So now the young people who are coming up have this idea that, believe whatever you want. Like, what's facts? Like, what are facts? Like, there's no such thing as facts. Like, what the fuck are you, like, what are you talking about, player?
Hold on. Because I do believe that, though. I do believe that there are parts of that I do believe. Like, I do believe that I do believe that the government is corrupt. Portions of the government is corrupt. Now, corruption based off the views that a lot of the society thinks, like racism and things of that nature, not so much. As far as money goes, absolutely. Things that they're trying to do that they shouldn't be doing, absolutely. But people have to understand that currently, right now in our world, is that the society is allowing government to take over and take the reins of a lot of things that they shouldn't be taking over. For example, the politics in the world right now between presidencies is based off of race, based off of civil war and racial inequalities and things of that nature, which is bullshit. Like you're electing presidents based off the color. Like they want you to base your vote on the president based off the color of your skin. I mean, Joe Biden said it himself, right? He said, if you vote for Trump over me, then I don't think you're black, or then you're not black, or something in that line of words. And that is bullshit. That's bullshit. Like we need to understand and be able to elect officials that are going to better our country, better our states, better our counties. And what a lot of people don't understand is that we have that power to overturn or to rule out those people, but they're too busy brainwashed and seeing things on social media about the real problems in the world, and now they're making them real problems. And the government's just sitting back laughing, collecting checks and saying, well, look who you put into power. The people that are making you believe these things.
Yeah.
And that's all based off of the fact that you're only keeping like-minded people around you, so you don't have anybody to challenge you to make you understand that, hey, what the thoughts that you're thinking, they might be wrong. They are wrong. Open your eyes up, open your brain up a little bit, and let more thoughts in to understand that what you are doing is causing a mistake. And that's why people are going to start getting mad about how their children are raised or how their children are taught in school. And guess what? The only thing that you can do is point the finger back at yourself and say, fuck, I made this mistake. I made my bed. Now I'm laying in it and I'm fucked. And then you have people on the other side of the spectrum that are upset because the majority of people are listening to this because it's so persuasive and it is an agenda that people are listening to, but they make it sound so fucking good. They make it look like a big juicy piece of steak that everybody wants to fucking take a bite out of, and then they bite into it to a mouthful of maggots and they're fucked. You know what I mean? And we're just sitting back like, hey, we got to live with your guys' mistakes too. But guess what? I'm going to make sure that I have my arsenal ready of thoughts and whatever else I need here in my house. I mean, I use the word arsenal for a reason, but I'm gonna make sure that I have everything in prepare, like, so that I'm prepared when shit really does pop off. And guess what? You're gonna be in the majority of people that are fucked and stuck here, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here,
brother. And let me tell you, just to even go back, right? Joe Biden, before he even declared who his VP was going to be, literally said, "My VP will be a woman, and will be a woman of color." And a lot of people thought that he was going to go for the chick from Michigan or Minnesota or whatever her name is. But my question was why does that even be declared? Why is he saying that? Why can't we just say, I'm going to pick the person who I think is going to be the best vice president for the United States of America?
Because it ain't right to the world to say that right now, bro. And
it's a part of the agenda.
The only way for him to get into office, bro.
They want to think. They really think. You mean to fucking tell me that these son of a bitches go through re-election every few years, and Joe Biden just so happens to have stayed in Congress and stayed around for 20-some years, 30 years, because he doesn't have an agenda, because he doesn't have a 10-year plan, because, he just fucking goes up there and talks a fucking good game. No hell. There's a whole agenda. There's a whole fucking plan to keep executing, to keep your ass in the same fucking seat and create career bureaucrats to get their fucking paychecks from their fucking people who are helping them push, companies who help with fucking sex changes, companies that help with this, companies that help with opioids, companies that help with fucking private prisons, you fucking shitbags, NIH, all this other bullshit where all this fucking money's going. These people are in... listen up,
He said, hold on real quick. Let me unbutton it because it's getting a little hot in here, bro.
Man, I was at Lodge earlier, bro. That's kind of why I was lagging too, because whatever fucking
Are you open to talking? Are you open to talking about that online?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it kind of relates back. Like, I wanted to ask you a question because I know the answer, but just for the sake of conversation and topic, I was going to ask you a question about it. So, for those people that people want representation of minorities everywhere. Personally, as an Asian woman, I have never really seen it that way. Let me tell you, Rebecca, I am a Mexican American male who is very dark, who gets confused for black all the time, who has a black and brown child mix, I understand that I have to teach my son to speak a certain way, because a lot of people are going to believe that he's uneducated because of the views that people have of racial inequalities these days. And I know that I'm going to have to raise him to be right, but he's going to be raised correctly and know how to talk to everybody, every single person on this earth the same way. And that's how you should raise your kids, especially as a person of color. Okay, I feel like calling people of color is just as bad as calling them something derogatory. Like I'm just a person. You know what I mean? I'm just a fucking person. If I wanted to be like someone, it didn't matter what they look. Exactly. You can relate to every single person. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's so many arguments that I can make right now. The biggest issue is that I'm on the internet, so there's a lot of things that may sound very, very confrontational, but just know that if one race can say their race and that power, then every race should be able to say that race and that power. Everybody should be able to do it. So the issue for me is that we set standards. Okay, I'm gonna get away from the Freemasonry for a second, and I'm gonna say this. Okay, this is something that I feel very deeply about. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it very clear so that everybody understands my view on things, is that me personally, I believe that everybody on this world is equal unless you cause harm to somebody. If you cause harm to somebody, especially a child, then you are worth nothing. Your life is worth nothing. Okay? So let me make that very clear. I believe that everybody is equal. I don't give a fuck if you make more money, if you make less money, if you're brown, black, yellow, brown, purple, whatever. If you cause violence or hatred and hurt somebody, and it's a child, especially, then you are a piece of shit and you deserve to be buried alive. So that's one thing, okay? So the issue currently that I see majority of the time, and this is with all societies, not just racial societies, but other societies that we've mentioned earlier tonight. People are asking for equality. Equality this, equality that. I want the same things. And this goes down all the way down to feminism, right? It's on all spectrums. I'm not leaving anybody out. So if you guys got ears, fucking perk them up because I'm talking about all of y'all. Everybody is asking for equality. The issue is they're not willing to give the same equality that they're asking for. I'm going to say it again. If you're asking for equality, if you're asking whether it's a race issue, whether it's a sex issue, whether it's a gender issue, if you're asking for equality, give the same equality back that you're asking for. That's it. And it goes back again to what my mom used to tell me. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. That's it. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. If you want to be equal, treat other people as you're equal. You're not above anybody. Nobody is above
even anybody. Going off what you said, let me hop in there. Is I go as far, like, as you said earlier, everybody, any nation, any creed, color, you should be able to say that and power behind it. So for all my people, Native American, brown pride, red man, all that, right? I should be able to say that as loud and as equally and rightfully as another man can say white power, black power, right? They should be able to say it just as fucking loud as I can say mine. As long as you don't fuck with me, right? Like, as long as you're not bothering me, you say what you need to say, I'm going to say what I need to say, right? Because everybody here is equal. We're all equal. You and your fucking Scandinavian fucking people, right? Goddamn, God bless you, player. Live that shit up, right? Wherever you're from, wherever, whatever, bro. You know, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Just don't bother me, right? And for whatever reason, people feel like just because they hear these things that are different from them, you know, that may offend them, or their family or their lineage may have had a run-in with these certain people. Like, why, you know, but why? Like, why must we keep this up? Like, you're keeping it up now.
That's a funny point that you bring up. Their lineage had something to, like, your family's lineage and somebody else's family lineage cross paths at some point, right? Sorry for my dog barking in the background. She's going nuts. But that's a funny point, because there are people these days currently that are stating that you should be at fault for your ancestors' decisions and their issues that they had. If that's the case, then we're all fucked. Okay? Because if you really go back, like, excuse me. If you really go back to my family, like down my family tree, like, I'm Aztec from Oaxaca. Like, my dad is Aztec from Oaxaca, right? Aztecs, as Indians, especially of most Indian cultures of that time frame, like, I hate to use the word because it might be offensive, but we're savages, bro. They're like savage in the point of war that we see currently is quick. The war that those, you know, that generation of people had was like horrible. Putting people's heads on sticks and fucking slaughtering them, like, that's bad. So if you really want to talk about, you know, like, dealing with your ancestors' problems, then we should all be fucked, because every single one of our ancestors had ties into something along those lines. Whether you're from, you know, the European line of things, and you know, you helped take over this country, or even as people part of this country who fought each other in civil war, you are the problem then, if you're going to look at it like that. But why should I have to deal with my father's issues? Why? If my dad has a fucking 450 credit score and is in debt, and I make millions of dollars, like, I got to pay his debt now? For what? He caused his own debt, not me. That's not my issue. So when people, especially right now, are like, oh, you were white, your family owned slaves. Okay, okay. Like I just go to school and hang out with all the cool kids, and I listen to Soldier Boy on the weekends and play video games on Twitch. Like, what does that have to do with me? You know what I mean? Like that that to me is a far cry for help. That is a far cry to revolve everything back to what we were talking to. That is a far cry of I want your opinion to be just like mine, and I'm trying to make that happen because I'm going to force people out. And I'm no longer going to listen to the context of their conversation. I'm going to force them out because I already know, prejudged, that they're not going to think the same way that I do. But I guarantee you a lot of the time they do. I guarantee you a lot of the time they do. Okay, from chat real quick. I met several Asians who don't date anyone who's not Asian, and sometimes they won't even date outside of their specific ethnicity. It makes no sense. Now, okay, now this one I can understand a little bit, and here's why. For cultural reasons, I can see why that would be a thing. If that's not the reason, then I don't understand. And you know, a lot of Latinas are crazy, so
that leads me, right? So being Native American, I'm now when I think about marriage and I'm thinking about long term, I'm a little more lenient to the idea of dating somebody who's Native American, right? Like in really sticking to that, but I don't want to be cut off to people. So I know that culturally I need to be with somebody who has that type of experience. Cause I go do powwows, I dance, I sing, all this shit. Like I'm involved in my culture. So it's like for me, I need somebody who understands that. So I can understand where, hey, shout out your fucking community because they always have been with you and they be fucking super active. They're keeping this thing rolling right now, man.
No, but hold on. But on that tie, but you understand that there would be people open to that though, right? Like learning about that. That's why you can't, like, not saying you specifically, but that's why you can't really cut out ties to people that are not in the same cultural region as you, because there might be somebody that is from a different side of the world from you that you show a powwow or something like that to, and they fucking fall in love with it. And now they're balls deep in it, and they want to continue to do those types of things. So you can't leave anybody out.
Fair enough. So I think a better way to say it is to even be with somebody who it has the openness to it, the willingness to be culturally involved, whether it's with their own culture or mine. Because I do get excited about learning about Hispanic culture or Black culture, wherever it's fucking derived from, Egyptian, this, whatever, fucking anything. I get super. I'm like, yeah, like show me your shit, dude. This is dope. Like this is cool as fuck.
And that's why being able to have open conversation in any type of relationship that you have, whether it's like a love relationship or even a friendship, you should be open to being able to hear about everybody's ideas and their culture. But not only that, it shouldn't be like your friendship shouldn't be based off of those things. I mean, to put it in my group of friends here at home, right? Like we've got a couple Mexicans that don't speak Spanish. We've got a Samoan guy. We've got fucking Black people around us. We've got a couple white guys. We've got Romanian guys that have been in the group. It's all about like your judge of character and what you really essentially bring to the table, as long as it's not negativity. When you bring conversation to the table that can be, I mean, think about it like this. One of the guys that I played video games, I've known him for 2 years now, and him and I have some of the best chemistry in video games that I've ever had with anybody that I play with. And he's a white guy, and we have dope ass fucking conversations on and off screen. What, like, if because I'm a person of color and I believe the same things that everybody else believes in this world currently, I wouldn't even play video games with the guy. That's how extreme some of these things are going. It's insane, bro. It's insane, and it's driving me fucking crazy. And it goes back to the thing that I said earlier. If you're asking for equality, make sure you're giving that same equality. We gotta give everybody a chance, bro. Unless they spit in your face or slap you or disrespect your family, like how much harm could they really be doing to you? Really, really.
Now, my thing as well is like, is because we were even talking about, and we talked about it even a little bit earlier, but media, social media, one, but media in general. More people are consuming the news through social media nowadays than ever before. You know what I'm saying? And news coverages nowadays, like these journalists aren't even, pundits aren't held to any standards. You know what I'm saying? So here they are reporting about, COVID, reporting about the Rittenhouse, they're reporting about George Floyd. And some of this shit is blatant lies. Some of the shit that they put out there are blatant fucking lies. Now, even with George Floyd, there was shit that was being put out in the media that was pure fucking lies, dude. They were saying like that.
We're creeping into territory. We're creeping into territory that I was nervous to creep into. But I'm here for it. 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 I might tread a little lightly, but I'm here for it. All right. I will give you my insight on a couple of these things. But go ahead.
So for Oh Boy, they wanted Murder One, right? And I'm like, you guys are fucking tripping, right? They're like, oh well, he had an altercation with him, before at a nightclub. So therefore,
you're talking about
George Floyd. Chauvelin, whatever.
Yeah, Derek Chauvin.
Chauvin. There we go. And it's like, dude, well, that's still a lie. Like, that does not make premeditated murder just because they had some kind of altercation at a workplace. This isn't like...
Oh, it was the restaurant issue, right?
Yeah, one of them was about some shit, and they got into it. And
I heard about that, yeah.
And they're like, well, we can get him for murder. I'm like, no, dude, this is lies. Like, you were putting lies out there, and what you're going to do is get people hyped up. You're going to get the people hyped up. They're going to... The prosecution is going to go for Murder One. You're going to lose, and they're going to have full mass-scale fucking riots. Because that was not Murder One, and you can only be convicted with what you're being charged with. You can't just say, oh, well, you know what, we're going to decide to give you murder, manslaughter now. No, fuck. That's what you start off with. That's what you stick with. And double jeopardy is a hell of a fucking, hell of a thing to have in this country, dude.
It doesn't exist, for those of you that don't know. Double jeopardy does not exist in this country.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you really think that, so even going with like this Maxwell trial.
Hold on. Stay on the Chauvin for a second. So I agree with you in the sense that, like, Murder One was too much for that case. I agree with you on that. Now, hear me. When a lot of people hear me say I agree that Murder One for Derek Chauvin was not the way to go, people immediately think that I think that he's innocent. False.
No.
That I don't believe that at all. I think that cop is a piece of shit. And I have friends who are in the police department who would also say that exactly how he treated that situation is what they teach you not to do. They teach you specifically how to hold somebody down on the ground like that. That is the wrong way to do it. And that it was fucking horrible, and he's a piece of shit for that. Should he be in jail? 100%. Was Murder One the case?
100%.
Was Murder One the case? No, it was not.
No.
See, now that's the issue. You have to listen to the full context of things. For people that are listening to you and I, if we say Murder One is not the case, they fucking clip that, throw it on Instagram, and say these two motherfuckers are racist because they don't believe that Derek Chauvin should be in jail. But if they listen to the rest of the context, he's a piece of shit and should be in jail. But it wasn't premeditated. There's nowhere anywhere has evidence that somebody found him saying, I'm going to kill this man. I'm going to strangle him with my knee, and I'm going to do it on purpose. There's no.
I will see him at said place, at said time, at said moment.
There's nowhere that says that.
No.
There's nowhere that says that. There's not a single place that says that. And if you want to.
If they had evidence, he would have been convicted. What I tell people, bro, and they're like, "No, well, he's a white cop." It's like, bro, he got convicted of murder too, bro. But like, do you know how long he's finna be fucking gone for? Like this, I know it's not what we wanted. Yes, he murdered this man. Yes, he murdered him right here on the floor. But when you're talking about the law, there's fucking levels to this shit, bro. And I'm sorry, I would rather us win, getting what we know for a fact happened, and for a fact in the heat of the moment.
And that is the point in court, right? It can be proven without a reasonable doubt. That is what it is, bro. That is what it is. And that's why they do daily days, even after trials. The jury deliberates for a long time, bro. Sometimes it's a lot shorter than others because the evidence is very clear, but the jury deliberates for a long time. And this is kind of back to what I was saying to you on when we had our phone conversation, and we'll fill everybody in on kind of what I was saying. But a lot of times we hear that our system is biased in one way or another, and I say that just so that I'm not saying too many things. I just kind of want to say it broad, guys, because I am streaming on Facebook, so I'm trying to be as broad as I can on a certain thing. So if I'm not saying to the point of what I'm trying to say, just understand that it's a broad thing. So allow yourself to kind of open your mind to understand what I'm saying. But a lot of people are saying that our system is biased in a lot of different ways, and my take on that, and I said this to you when we were on the phone, is how can you say that to a lot of these situations when you have to understand that the government that we've put into place currently, and the government that we put into place far beyond this, and the government that our founding fathers of this country put into place, said that in a trial of these magnitudes, you will be tried by the community. That is who the jury is. Yeah. It is the peers of people. What is it? The peers of your community.
Yeah.
Those are the people that find you guilty based off the evidence that is given. Those are the people that find you not guilty based off the evidence given. So is it really the system, or is it the people of your community telling you that what you did was wrong or right? How is that the system? Now, let me play devil's advocate real quick, okay? Like I said, I like to do. Now, you can say that it is the system because the laws that were put in place for that specific case were created by the system. Absolutely. But the system and the laws created show no bias. There is no wording in any law that you can find here in the United States, whether it's by state, whether it's by county or federal law, that show you that it is biased from one side to the other. It does not favor any single group of people. So to say that the system is unbalanced is somewhat a lie. There is not a single piece of literature in our judicial system or any system that exists in our country that shows that one party is favored more than the other. If you can find it, prove me fucking wrong. Prove me wrong. Now, hold on. But what there is laws in place. Maybe not laws, but let me retract a little bit. Not laws, but there are things implemented into businesses and schools that are biased. For certain groups of people.
Yeah.
And those are the same groups of people that are asking for more.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And like we're saying, like you were saying it, dude. You're judged by a jury of your peers, right? This is your community that is actually, deciding your fate. So I don't think that maybe we have as much of a justice issue as we have a community issue, because the judicial system does not exist without its community. Because first you abide by your city ordinance, and then your county laws, and then your districts, and then your state laws, and then the state decides to abide by the Fed, right?
Are you learning this at the lodge?
No, I mean,
no.
But we
I didn't know. Okay,
We do
okay,
talk about this.
because I'm very familiar with the fact that they talk about this a little bit at the lodge. So I just
But so it's like, so yes, so if our judicial system's a little fucked up, so what's going on in our community then? Who's voting for these bills? Who's voting for the laws? Why aren't you being more involved? You get what I'm saying? Because so for me, so George Floyd, right? Out of everything I took was, they're like, cops just don't fucking care. But I was like, listen, bro, like, I think there's a whole disassociation right now between us and cops, right? We want, you want to abolish all police? Are you fucking crazy? Like, do you know what would happen in Chicago if you did
who
that?
you gonna call? Ghostbusters?
Straight the
Like,
fuck up, dude. Like, you guys are printing fucking lies, dude. Like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are reading, homie. Like, what the fuck? Like, turn off the TV and go fucking smell the roses, because there's obviously a disassociation between us citizens and the badge, right? Like, there's something going on that we need to read up on and reevaluate. You know what I'm saying? Because why are these incursions happening in these communities, right? Why is somebody like homie, rest in peace, Freddie Gray, selling cigarettes in front of a fucking liquor store? Why is he selling CDs or whatever the fuck?
yeah, but I think
Why is
that's
he
less of
doing
I think that's less of a race issue, and it was created to be a race issue.
It's a community issue.
Yeah.
It's a community issue.
So to talk on the equality part of that and the justice part of things, right? I'll bring up this controversial topic currently, which is the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, right? And there, to me,
Wow.
I knew that the verdict was going to be what it was,
Yeah.
and that's because I knew the facts of the case, and everything was caught on camera, and you can clearly see what was happening. And if you are familiar with laws, and especially self-defense laws, then you knew what the case was going to be. Okay. Now, people were saying that it was unjustified and there was no justice in that trial for the people that were deceased in that trial. Where the people that were deceased in that trial were, if anything, not better than that person at all, because their track record showed so. With one being a pedophile who raped and sodomized a 9-year-old boy. The one thing that you hear a lot is, well, why did he have a gun there in the first place? He was looking for trouble, right? That's the number one thing that you hear. Why did he have a gun? And why would, like, if he had a gun, then that means that he was looking for trouble. Let me remind you that the last person that he shot had a gun pointed at his head. So now this goes back to the equality thing. If Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun and you're going to say, why did he have a gun? He was looking for trouble. Then you have to say the same thing about the other gentleman who had a gun and pointed it at his head. You have to be equal on both sides. You cannot be biased about that. Now, for those people saying that, oh, he was treated that way because he was white. Now, we don't even have to get into all the lies that you said, like you said, that the media shows and portrayed, that he was a white supremacist and a Trumpism and all this bullshit before they even knew what the fuck was going on or who this person was. And mind you, if you listen to anybody who's anybody on the news talk about that case, they will say the same thing. They're going to say the protest started because the cops killed a black man named Jacob Blake. Jacob Blake is fucking alive. He's alive. He's a millionaire now because he was shot by police wrongfully. He's alive. That's justice. He's a millionaire. That is justice. He was shot wrongly by the police and became a millionaire. He's alive. But guess what? It doesn't fit the narrative. So we got to say that he's fucking dead. Okay. So now, to get on to the next point. That's a self-defense claim. Now, there's a gentleman who just went on trial and got a not guilty verdict for self-defense. against shooting the police. He shot at the police and got away with it because he claimed self-defense. And it was wrong because the police did not identify themselves before they entered the building. They broke a piece of glass. He thought he was under attack, so he shot back and he wound up shooting at police. It was self-defense, and it went with a not guilty verdict in court. Guess what? He was fucking black, bro. He was black, shooting at cops. So for people that say that there is no justice for black people in this fucking community because white cops killed black people, this black gentleman shot at cops and got away with it because he claimed self-defense. You know why? Because the system understands that those cops did their job wrong. So because they got shot at, because they did their fucking job wrong, he cannot be guilty. That's fucking justice, dude. That is justice. Here's the thing that I'm going to say. If you are going to sit here and protect those people in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial who got shot, like the fucking child molester or the other fucking dude who fucking stabbed his brother in the ear with a fucking knife, then that means that if you're going to call me a racist for saying Kyle Rittenhouse should have went free guilty, then that means that you fucking support pedophiles. That's what it is, bro. That's what it is. If you think that what he did was wrong, then that by theory, by the way that you think and the way that you're saying things, that means that you believe that kids should be fucking raped.
Yeah.
And you think that pedophiles are fucking heroes. And there's no justice for a pedophile. And the reason that I feel that way is because if you listen back in the podcast to what I was saying, if you harm a fucking child, you are a piece of shit and you do not deserve to breathe and you deserve to be fucking buried alive.
Yeah, dude.
That's what it is, bro.
I hope if you own a business, if you own a store or a business that you provide for your family with, I can burn it down if somebody offends me. If somebody doesn't address me by my
with their words. Yeah,
or with their words. I hear about something that happened 2,000 miles from me, I can decide to burn down your house or your property, your livelihood, because I can. Because I don't believe anybody should be able to stop me because I'm angry, right? And I can decide to do that.
You know that happened here in my city, right?
No way.
Yeah, 2 freeway exits away from me. I don't know if you remember, but when the George Floyd thing went big. I lost a shit ton of viewers, by the way. Just want to let you know. But after that little rant, I lost 7 or 8 views. But
they'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be back tomorrow. But let me see. I'll check my subscriptions in a minute to see how many I've lost. But yeah, man, when that whole George Floyd thing was going on, and there was another situation that happened. We have a trolley system here in San Diego, and there was a black gentleman who was being harassed by a trolley cop, and they burnt the city down, bro. Literally 2 freeway exits away from me. Here in my city where I live right next to the downtown part of my city, 1 block away from me. Everything was boarded up. The police station is right on the end of my street. And everybody was getting ready, bro. Everybody was getting ready to make sure that if that mob came this way, shit was about to pop off. It was wild, man. To see my city that I love so much. I mean, you know me, bro. I spent a lot of time in the 805, but I was excited to come back home. And to see the city that I love so much be burnt down the way that it was in a community of people that don't deserve that, it was wild, man. That area where it was, I mean, that bank that got burned down was my father's bank that he's been going to since I was a kid. It's no longer there. The surrounding areas, I eat a lot of those places. I go to a couple of those bars that got burned around, and it's just wild, man. It's wild that that's what we go to. But I had somebody that I was talking to, and they were telling me, I appreciate you, Rebecca. Thank you, Kelly. They were saying we're just tired of our pain. We want to show the pain that we're going through. And the number one quote that I have for that is, an eye for an eye means that the whole world is blind. If you cause pain for me, and I cause pain back to you, and then we keep causing pain to everybody that's ever caused pain to us, when are we ever going to progress?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the most heartbreaking and heartwarming things that I've ever seen in my life was this happened a long time ago. There was this pizza kid that got killed by this gang member, like this pizza delivery boy that got killed by this gang member for his initiation. And at the trial, the father forgave the killer for killing his son and walked over and gave him a hug. He gave his son's killer a hug and understood that he was like an 18-year-old kid and made a mistake, a big mistake. But he took his son's life and he gave him a hug, bro. And and the killer like broke down crying, and said, "I cannot believe that you are forgiving me and showing me love after what I did to you and your family." And that takes a very fucking strong person. And I hope that never happens to me, because I would destroy the world if that something like that ever happened to me. And I know you agree with me. But it goes back to somewhat of how I live my life. And my biggest mentor was Cause. Cause is my biggest fucking mentor. And I think we talked about this on the last time we had a podcast. But that man taught me the actual true definition of love and what giving love is. And if you show everybody love, it goes back to the mama thing, right? Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you treat everybody with love, and that's the thing that's escaping our world right now because of the separation that we're going through. If you give everybody love and you get a little bit of love back, and then they felt how good that feels, so they go give somebody love and they get a little bit of love back, and then you just start giving, and everybody just starts loving each other. Not love and kiss like but like love, like giving. It could even go down to the point of just showing somebody that you care about what they have to say, even if you disagree with them. Let me bring it back full circle, chat, for everything that we're saying. But even if you just listen to what they have to say, that is showing love. That is showing love and understanding. Like, okay, I disagree with what you have to say, but I want to hear what you have to say. Let me hear it. That's love, man. And we have to continue to bring that. And especially, I mean, we're blessed, right? Because we both have little boys. And our boys are about the same age. So it's easy to show our boys love as men, and they get their love from their mamas too. And Punch and I are both single fathers, for those of you guys that don't know. So, and we respect our sons, their moms. But if we had girls, bro, it'd be a little bit different, right? It'd be a little bit different. It'd be a little bit fucking different. Hold on real quick. All right, let me catch up with chat real quick before you get on to the next one. True words. Thank you, Tyson. Thank you for the like, bro. I appreciate you being here. I saw something similar in a documentary. The mother of a murder victim agreed to meet with the murderer in jail, and she told him she forgave him, and he teared up. It was very surprising, powerful. Yes. Oh, let me add one more part on to the pizza kid. They actually didn't. He got out of jail. The killer got out of jail, and now they go to schools. I think this is the same two people. I know that there's two people that do this. I think it might be them. But they go to schools and they talk about gang violence, and they talk about how it can affect both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
A disagreement, bro. A disagreement that caused somebody's life. These two people had enough love. I mean, the father had a great, immense amount of love, but they had enough love to come together and provide more love for other communities to show, like, hey, we do not want you to get to this point. Let's change the world. Let's change what the fuck is going on. Let me turn my air on real quick, bro. Chat. Punch is gonna talk to you guys for a second. I'm gonna turn the air on and maybe take a leak real quick. I'll be back.
Well, welcome, my friends. I'm here on the other side of the matrix. Yeah, but everyone is tuning in with my man Cisco. You guys got to understand. You guys lighten up his days. You guys bring him a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. Yeah, he's a good guy. good friend. And he's very honest. Yeah. So everybody who's listening, if you've made it this far, y'all need to understand. Like he comes from such good stock. The guy that you guys, give your hard-earned money to, and your valuable time watching, and your love and support to, he's worth every fucking penny. Every penny. Gassing you up to your crew, my man.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Oh
Jordan
yeah.
said he's a girl dad. Okay, all right. Let's get away from the race and all the political shit. I know there was a couple other things you wanted to talk about. Let's move on to the next topic, bro, because that one took a lot out of people. I can definitely see it in the numbers.
Yeah. Hey, and it's my thing, and even going back, right? So we all got to be able to agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? And we got to,
That's facts.
and like you're saying too, we got to be able to just love each other more, forgive each other more. You know what I'm saying? Take chances. Like something I've been saying lately is like take chances on loving each other, man. You know what I mean?
What do you
Like
have to lose? What do you have to lose?
nothing. You know what I mean? People think that it's wasting time of when you love like you're trying to love someone and they let you down, right? Okay, like we're single fathers, we know what it feels like to be let down. You know what I'm saying? And
And our
and
kids are little, bro. Imagine when they
yeah,
get older.
yeah. I let him down. You know what I'm saying? I let her down. So it's like she let me down. Like there's a bunch of letdown. Like you know what I mean? But you gotta give yourself the space to fucking still just love people, show them the respect and dignity they deserve. You know what I'm saying? Like you've never once ever dragged, what I'm saying, nobody's name ever. Like you know what I'm saying? Not even on no baby mama shit. Like nobody. You've never dragged nobody's name. I mean, I talk my shit, but
Oh, you talking about me? Oh, you talking about me?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, bro. I don't talk shit about. I don't really talk shit about. I mean, when when we were under dread and we had to buck up a little bit and talk a little bit of shit, maybe a little bit there. But yeah, man. What good is talking shit about somebody or dragging somebody's name in the dirt gonna do me? Like
Yeah.
there is no success. No success and no succession, no progression when you do that. But guess what? When you show love and you show appreciation, you have every amount of succession and every amount of progression when you do that, whether it's with yourself or whether it's them progressing or them showing success, that you played a part in that. So it adds to you. It helps build you up. You know what I mean? But when you drag somebody's name, that it's just fake. It's imaginary progression. You literally go nowhere. If anything, you go backwards.
Yeah. And so even just thinking about the whole like, we are right. So for people, if you've made it this far, y'all gotta understand being a single parent, whether you're a father or mother, right? Whatever you want to call yourself, being a single parent is hard as fuck, right? And sometimes that shit get crazy, right? And especially if you're trying to do this, especially if you're trying to do this streaming life, or you're trying to do the fucking dance life or the podcast life or whatever life, that you're pursuing.
They
This
don't
shit.
see it, bro. Just for the record, I've had this conversation with my boy, and people do not see what goes on in our daily lives because we want to do this daily.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody sees the things that we give up because we want to be behind these cameras or behind these microphones. They don't see it, bro. It looks easy because all we have to do is turn on a camera and talk, or all we have to do is turn on a camera and play video games. That's what they see. So I agree with you on that aspect a lot, especially coming from the single father thing.
Even with some of the things that we try to talk about, or the opinions we choose to have, we become dull to some of it because we want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, like that this hard work that we put into this fucking shit isn't uprooted by a simple opinion or a misunderstanding or a lack of information. You know what I'm saying? And for us men, right? So much rides, and it's working into my next where I'm trying to get to. This is
I knew this is where we were headed. I fucking knew it. Okay, guys,
So-
hold on real quick. Let me just tell you guys. Punch sent me a list of topics that we were going to talk about tonight so that I wasn't blindsided and we knew what we were going to talk about tonight. We didn't talk prior to what we were going to say, but we knew the list of topics that we were going to talk about. So I just want to give you guys that. That's why I know where he said it with this. That's why I know where he said it with this. We got off on a little bit of a tangent on the last one, and the last one wasn't really the topic that we were going to talk about, but it was something that we did want to talk about. But go ahead.
I mean, for us, right? Like, there's so much that rides on what we're able to put out, right? Like, X amount, right? Like, what can he provide, right? And so, for people with a little backstory on where I'm really trying to go with this is I seen this video, right? And Cisco, I showed you this video, but they were talking about traditional roles of men and women inside of a heterosexual relationship. I'm gonna be real specific on this, right? At least on this case, because I don't understand any other type of relationship, right? So this is coming from a heterosexual, cisgendered male. Pronouns is he, him, his. Right? He, him, his. Right? Cool. So, do you believe that in today's society that we are living by traditional standards, or I don't want to say traditional, more conservative standards, or are we supposed to be living more towards a progressive standard of relationship, again, in a heterosexual relationship?
Okay, so let me just make sure you're asking this. Let me make sure I understand what you're asking. Okay, what you're asking me is, are we supposed to live in a progressive relationship, or are we supposed to be living in a more conservative one? Are you asking me, are we supposed to be, or
is society, is the communities, do you, when you look out and look at it, do you see one more than the other? I guess is the real question.
Do I see one more than the other? Absolutely. I see more of a progressive relationship, but it's for multiple reasons. So I'll give you my standpoint on things. So I grew up in my father's from Mexico, my mother's from Philadelphia. But being a male, I got more of my values, my masculine values from my father, right? So when my father and my mother split, and I was old enough to see how my dad was with women, and after he got a girlfriend and who my stepmom is, I grew up in a household where I sat down and we did not start eating until my father started eating, and I left my plate on the table for my stepmother to pick up for me. And if I, like, being Mexican, we ate tortillas a lot. So, if there was no, like, my stepmom would get up and down from eating while we were all eating to make sure that everything was heated, make sure if we needed more things that those things were gathered for us. If we were out of drinks would be poured for us. That's how I grew up. I grew up that way. And so I saw nothing wrong with that until I started getting, not that I saw it wrong when I got older, but I started noticing that other people did it differently when I got older. But I realized more that was a traditional, especially immigrant traditional way of living, more times than none. So those were values that I looked for, but didn't receive because not a lot of people grew up in that manner. And what I've noticed is that a lot of women that had grown up in that manner wound up hating that because they felt that they were being taken advantage of. So personally, do I somewhat still look for that when I'm looking for a relationship? Absolutely. Maybe not to its entirety. I can get up and heat up some tortillas by myself if I need to, but the standard pretty much goes, and I know the video that you're talking about, and in the video, what they say is, the young lady that's speaking says that she wants traditional core, like, diplomatic values in a man, like a God-fearing man who is loyal and goes to work and brings home the bacon and things of that nature. And the gentleman asks her, well, if women want that these days, then are they willing to be the same traditional woman that was during that time as well? A wife that stayed home, cooked, made sure the house was clean, did the laundry, and did all those things of that nature. And he was saying that women these days want a man like that, but still want to be out in the streets, want to be a boss bitch, want to be, how many women are actually virgins before they get married? And it resonated when he said that with the group, and they didn't like it very much when he said that, but I'm understanding of his point on that. It goes back to the equality thing, right? Like if you want something, you need to be that too, what you're bringing to the table. Unfortunately, the reason that I believe that can't really happen anymore, or is not happening, is because the number one thing is, especially with you and I living in California, is the cost of living in California is extremely ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous. So for a man to be a man of that caliber, he's got to be making, $180,000 a year to make sure that his, wifey and kids are good, and she can genuinely stay home and take care of everything that needs to be taken care of in a nice home. A lot of guys, a lot of people, they can't do that, bro. There's no jobs really that do that these days. So, wifey got to go out and work. But on the other side of things, it's, the power of women has risen greatly over the last 30, 40, 50 years. So women understanding that they can be CEOs, that they can start their own businesses and make money. It's no longer a necessity. It's no longer a necessity for them to find a partner that is offering all those things, because they can take those things themselves. So they're allowing to take things into their own hands so that they no longer need that. But wanting that goes back to a more animalistic value of us being humans, and the human in with us being humans, the female mind and the male mind are different. It's scientific fact that our minds are different. Our body structures are different for a reason, but our minds are different. So that is instinct for a woman to want that, just like it's instinct for a man to want the things that he wants. So it's not wrong for them to think that they want these traditional values, but we're so far past that now, that these newer core values have changed, but the values now have to be more equal on both ends. So that's what I believe. I believe that, yes, there are still people that look for those values in men and in women, and I don't fault them for looking at those things. But we have to understand that things have progressed from that state, so it's a little difficult to be put in that position.
So, right, I kind of even think of it a little bit where today's society's changed a little bit in ways that I still think that there is a lot of women who are down to be, this go-getter. They're going to go get their college degree, their master's, and they want to work their job and have their careers. There's still a lot of women who want that. And there's also the women who want to be stay-at-home moms, right? And that's cool too, right? And then you get the third kind who kind of want to work a little knockoff job, but then they don't want to help. They don't feel like getting their money should pay the bills, or everything gets supplied by daddy and blah blah blah. Which is that's cool too. You know what I'm saying? If that's your life, but for me, and this is kind of something I wanted to get into with you about, was for me, even going, because it's kind of going back to what we were talking about before. I think I might have to end up getting a girl who's around Masons, right? Who either comes from a Masonic family or something, because we spend so much time at the lodge, and like me, me, I'm trying to be super active. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like for them to understand what it requires of me, you know what I mean? The time it's going to take up. And if you're trying to be stay-at-home mama, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to see me, you know what I mean? So just understand, like, I will be at lodge. So, but if I'm dating a girl who's going to have a problem with that, well, then that's going to be a fucking problem. Like, you know what I mean? But if they're going and doing their own shit, taking care of the house, working out, or got their job, their career, whatever the fuck it is, whatever makes them happy, that's just is what makes me happy. You get what I'm saying? I don't understand where people still throw around they say, oh, I want a man who's like a biblical man, blah, 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 but then try to say, toxic masculinity all in the same fucking sentence.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this then. In that sense, that's where communication comes in, right? I feel like communicate, and it goes back to the disagreeing and agreeing thing. The communication is the most standard portion of any relationship, whether you're starting out or already deep into the relationship, right? So, with knowing the way that our society is currently, and whether it's a Masonic woman or not, or from a Masonic family or not, I mean, if you go on a first date with a female, I mean, you got to kind of put it into perspective for them. Like, look, this is what I do. This is what I've wanted to do. These are my ambitions. This is kind of the time slate that I have and what I have on my plate, to allow them to decide if they want to continue that or not. Because if you continue with somebody for that deep into a time, like say it's 3 to 6 months, and then you're finally telling them like, look, if we're gonna get serious, and this is what you need to know about me. I mean, you've kind of fucked it up for yourself and for them, and kind of wasted their time at that point, right?
Yeah, and even for me now, like, and again, like this, dude, we've done really well keeping everything on fucking topic. You know, people might
I got you.
People might not fully always agree with, stay at home mom versus not stay at home mom, stay at home dad versus not stay at home dad, and even with like, so now with some of this stuff, I think what people really need to do is start putting these expectations out front, like you're saying, is front face value. I'm very open about my pursuit of masonry and all this shit. You know what I mean? It's not something I hide. It's like, so I feel like now when I'm dating, it's something that I have to make very abundantly clear, because it's like crumping. It's like I tell these motherfuckers, dumb bros, like, I'm a dancer, like, like I'm a dancer.
Oh, now we're demeaning women.
Oh what? Yeah, I'm a piece of shit, dude. Come
You're
on.
You're a racist and you demean women.
Yes. I'm high, people. Listen, I'm saying it as fast as I'm thinking it. Okay, just fucking stick with me, okay? Because I'm a piece of shit, right? And I make that very clear to people, like, and especially.
You tell people you're a piece of shit.
Yes, I make that very clear. Like,
I'm not a piece of shit, bro. Don't do that. You can't. That's self fruition. You can't do that shit, bro. You're putting it into society. You're putting it out into the
self-deprecation.
Yeah, that's self deprecation, bro. What are you doing? You're not a piece of shit. I wouldn't talk to you if you were a piece of shit.
Well, thank you, but okay. So my thing is I guess I really generally don't care, like now, like especially now, like I generally don't care to have a relationship. Like I just don't have the bandwidth for it. So yeah, you might consider me a dick because, like, I don't. Maybe we went on one date, and now I don't want to go on another one with you. But it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care because I already have X, Y, and Z going on. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I say I'm a piece of shit, because it's like I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. Yes, I know you want to spend time with me, or yes, I know you want to go on a date, or yes, I know you want more of this. But it's like I have X, Y, and Z, and that comes before you. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is because I
know too well, brother.
I would hope that she would have X, Y, and Z and put that in front of me, right? Put that in front of me, because that is your life. That is.
Yeah. Okay. So here's I'll say this from my perspective, from what I've learned. is that with love, it's a slippery slope with those types of things, because putting the things that you love in front of somebody else kind of deteriorates the love that they think that you have for them, which I don't think it should. I think that they need to be understanding and understand that yes, you love them. You're more in tune and understanding that the things that you love and your happiness need to come as well. Like, just loving somebody isn't going to, fulfill your want to do other things or put money in your pocket for the long run. Um, but it's a slippery slope because it can deteriorate the love that you have for somebody, or the love that somebody thinks that you have for them, right? Like, I'll put this in an example, but I'm not going to use a self example because that would be wrong of me to do. But like, for instance, is like your podcast, right? Say you meet a nice young lady, you guys hit it off, and you guys are enjoying yourselves, and you say, "Hey, look, I do my podcast 6 times a week for 2 hours a day, and I have to do this." And it starts eliminating time that you have with her. Now she starts to think, oh, because he's doing his podcast, he's spending less time with me. So that means that he loves me less because he'd rather do his podcast. But in your eyes, you're like, I stand strong with the love that I have with this female. And I'm doing my podcast because it's something that I love to do and I genuinely want to do it. And you see no issue because said young lady says, okay, I understand that you're doing the things that you love, and I love you enough to tell you that you need to do the things that you love too. But deep in her mind, she's like, well, now he's spending less time with me because this is something that he loves to do, and he's no longer spending time with me, so he loves me less because he loves this more.
No, fuck with me on this. I put these things in front of this person, right? So let's say I was in love with this beautiful woman named Allison. And me and Allison love each other, and I make abundantly clear to her I have X, Y, and Z, and these will mean more to me now, right? And even though I put these things before her, does not make my love equivalent to. Get what I'm saying? So because you allow me to tend to my masonry, I will actually begin to love you more, right? Because you allow me to tend to my podcast, it makes me love you more, right? Because you allow me to water my garden, right? I'm able to be more fruitful for you, right? Can be a better man because let's just say my podcast was my sole source of income, right? If you allow me to devote myself to it, right? Not only can I provide to you, but I'm also doing what I love, right? And I also want that for them for the simple fact, right? Let's say we do marry. Let's say we take it all the way, right? But let's say one day I die and Allison has to go without me, right? Do you have something that will get you through it? Do you have something that will say, okay, now I have to put the pants on? Do you have a passion that you can follow to provide for the family? Do you
So
have
so are you saying with that fact that stay-at-home mom would be lost?
No. I think with even stay-at-home moms, that like let's just say even in somebody completely random, right? In situations like that, that is what I would always warn them about, right? If he was to die today, what would you have? Not only to provide for your children, but to maintain your own sanity,
You should
right?
sell. You should sell life insurance. No, I'm just, I'm just playing. I'm just fucking with you.
Like, do you like? And it's not even, and it's you know, and depending on what your husband may have done to set you up properly, right, for his passing, you know what I'm saying? If you're set up, then that's one thing, right? That's a deep conversation to have, you know. But for me, what I'm looking for, speaking just for myself, is that it's something I warn for, right? I wouldn't want a woman who worked, right? But I would need a mother who is skilled in case I pass,
Mm.
right? I need a mother who's skilled in either the ability to cope or financial management Or you get what I'm saying? Because I'm going to do everything in my power that if I were to drop dead, my wife and my son would never have to worry about a dollar. Would never have to worry.
Mm.
All expenses paid. You get what I'm saying? So I need her skilled enough to be able to cope, either cope, right, financially plan, or be skilled enough and educated enough to take on the workforce, right? Because if I love you and if you've allowed me to love you the way I need to love you, right? I've put all things aside at this point now, right? Like because you've allowed me to tend to my podcast, you've allowed me to tend to my garden, so we should be very fruitful, right? And my love for you should be very fruitful. So
You
everything.
know, that's a good point that you bring up, and it's funny because Jordan said that in chat too. He said, for me, it's like let's work hard together now, so that when we make it down the road, we could be in the position of you to be a stay-at-home mom, or in a position to where, like you said, if by some reason I pass, you guys are set up in a situation. And I think that a lot of people don't view it that way. I think they view it more of a way as the right now, right? Because that's what we have is the right now. Uh,
Yeah.
we can't set ourselves up too far in the future because we never know if we're gonna make it, right? That's like a reason that I don't want to be abundantly rich or have all the fucking money in the world is because I'm not gonna be able to take it with me when I die. Like I want to make
Yeah.
enough money. Me personally, I want to make enough money to I can continue to do this stream because I love streaming. I love it. I love seeing people in my chat that I see every single fucking day and being able to play a new game and enjoying the new game and people being engaged in it and people talking to me and people telling me about what they did with their day or how their weekend was, or people that I haven't seen in a while. Oh, I just had a baby. I just got married. I caught a deer. I can't say caught. What was it, Jordan? I killed a deer today. Can't say caught
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't catch him. They fucking killed him. But like shit like that.
Took it
I
down.
I love those things. I love those things. So I went from when you met me, I wanted to make all the fucking money in the world, and I was willing to do anything to get to that point, whether that meant missing birthday parties, missing holidays, missing whatever the fuck I had to do, spending 90 hours a week at a dealership, doing whatever I had to fucking do, bro. Now, and I thank the pandemic for this. Now I understand that, especially with having a child who I've been able to spend the last 2 years with, I've learned what true happiness is because I've seen it in a child, and I've seen what we were born with, what we were initially supposed to be on this earth having, what we were given at our time of birth, and those are two things: it's love and empathy. Those are the two things that we're born with, no matter what. Hate, violence, all those things, that fear, all those things that we've learned now as adults, in our late 20s and 30s. Those are all things that we've learned or are taught. The things that we're
Mm-hmm.
born with are love and empathy. So if we continue to live with love and empathy, the things that we're given, it will resonate with everybody. And I think that's why I resonate so well within my community, not only of my peers, but of the people that we stream with, because they see that I have that. You know what I mean? I genuinely love everybody that comes into my chat. I genuinely have empathy, and I want to know how their life is when they come in my chat and they're new here and they make themselves known. And even like, bro, like you shared my stream, so Jordan came in my stream to watch, and he's been here ever since. Like I
Yep.
literally talk to this motherfucker through Messenger and talk to him all the time, and his wife watches me play video games and their kids. Like it's a beautiful thing, and I'm able to have that with multiple people. I mean, to the point where like I have people that put my stream up onto their TV and they like their kids and their family eat dinner while watching me. Like that's such a strong feeling. Like yeah, granted my viewer count may be low, but I've impacted people strongly. You know what I mean? And being able to do that, I'm going to round this back right here. But being able to do that has shown me that the path that I've taken to do something that I know that I love to do has not only lost me things and people that I've loved and that I do love, but it was the right decision to do that because I have self fulfillment. But when
Mm-hmm.
people want to come to the realization that hey, we can do the things that we love and still love each other, whether it be friends or relationships or whatever the case may be. Once that comes into fruition and you understand that, then we can do this all together. You know what I mean? Maybe we can make something bigger of it, if anything. So I was talking with my boy Sam earlier this or last week, and we were talking about how selfishness is a double-edged sword, right? It depends on what you're selfish with. Now, if you're selfish in the act of putting other people down for your own, like, to bring yourself up, that's wrong. But if you're being selfish in the sense of there's a group of people that want to go out to the bar, but you understand that you'd rather stream or do your podcast instead of going to the bar, you're being selfish for the right reasons. Not like you're missing a little bit of time with your friends to do the things that you love.
Yeah.
You're not putting anybody down. You're not creating violence. You're not doing anything. You're not spitting on anybody's name. You're doing something because of the things that you want to do. I've missed out on a lot of things because I want to stream. I've had a lot of people tell me like, "Oh, you'd rather stream than go and do this with me?" Absolutely, I would, and that's because that's why I feel the same way that that's the reason that I feel the way that I do right now, and the reason that I have the people in my community right now is because I've continued and been consistent doing this. You know what I mean? It's wild, bro. What Jordan said, that 64 looks good from the kitchen with your sexy self up there. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. You know, it's wild, and but it also it all everything that we really have talked about tonight all revolves around love, honestly,
Yeah.
and listening, communication, and understanding, and not putting each other down, because those are the things that create hate. Those are the things that create separation. And once we start creating those separations, and once we start creating hate and fear, it's very, very hard to get those things back. And if you can't get those things back, I mean, you kind of fuck yourself. You kind of put yourself into a position where you've either lost yourself or you've lost others. And once you lose yourself, I mean, you can be, you might as well be gone. You might as well be
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. I think at the end of it, dude, it's like, yeah, everything. When I think I think being giving each other a chance to be brutally honest with about who we are, right? What we want and what we enjoy, I think is something that we're missing today, and I don't know why. I don't know, whether it's in relationships, our political theories, our opinions on what society should look like, our opinions on what we should and shouldn't talk, whatever the fuck it is. I think there's such a fear in not being able to be truly who we are, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think when we give ourselves the more ability to forgive each other, right, that love takes course, right? And in those moments, you forgive, you come to an understanding, you laugh about it, you look back, like, like there's people who have disagreements and they look back 10 years, and they say, hey, remember that time, like, we had that falling out, like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I remember, like, I seen you at the birthday party and it was cool after that. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, it's like you give yourself the space to let that fill the void, you know what I mean? And I just really wish that moving forward, you know what I mean, dude. Dude, knowing that Jordan is be on your streams, bro, trips me out. I've known old boy since the third grade, dude. That shit is so
I
crazy.
know we talked about that before. It's dope, man. He's such a good, and I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying this because he's in my chat, but he's such a good person.
Oh, he's still
Um,
on, man.
yeah, he's still in here, bro. But he's such a good person. Where let me tell you this. So there's a group of three of us that stream together, right? And this man will literally be the first person in every single one of our streams. He'll donate 50 stars, and it's not even like 50 stars is 50 cents on Facebook. I know you don't stream on Facebook, but it's not even, we don't even look at it as like, oh, it's just 50 cents that he's giving us, but it's the fact that it's something. It's a spark. It's gratitude. Not the way I look at it is not only are we gracious of him coming into our chats and blessing us with, who cares if it's 50 cents, but something, and allowing us to know that he's there, but he's showing his gratitude, like, hey, you guys help me get through my work night, or you guys help me, give me and my wife something to talk about before we go to sleep, or just allowing like insights. And it's even gotten to the point where there was other streamers. So I don't know if I told you this, but what I used to do on my streams was when I had the money to do so, I've ran out of money. I don't have any money anymore. So, but what I used to do is I used to go on Facebook like once a month or something like that, and I would go and bless small streamers with like money, right? Like I would charge my account up with like 2, 3, 400 bucks, and I would just go out and I would just give streamers money for doing funny shit, or just because they were dope, or because they said that they needed help with getting a new microphone or something like that. And I was a small streamer giving back to small streamers. So there would be a list of streamers that we would go out and see, or I would like share them on my page and things of that nature. And a lot of the times I would go into those streamers' pages just to kind of like lurk and watch their stream a little bit. And it was Jordan and a couple other people in my community, my moderator Gigi, who's been with me for the last 3.5 years now, and then another gentleman named James, and then just other people in my community that I would see, and I would like go and lurk in these other people's streams, and I would see them in their streams, like interacting with these other streamers that we've blessed. And the way I looked at it is, it was like the community is a branch of what I want in life, or what I want to be known as a streamer, right? So if I want to be known as a loving and caring streamer that gives out to other people, my community is now showing that they are that portion of me without me having to be there. And with Jordan doing it, and James doing it, and Gigi doing it, and Sean doing it, like all these people going out and showing these other streamers love, like, hey, it's basically like my presence is still there through them. You know what I mean? And it was the dopest fucking feeling. And it's hard to explain that to other people that don't understand like streaming and communities and stuff like that. But it was the dopest thing, because I would be in there and nobody would know that I was in there. Nobody would know. And I would just see them interacting or giving stars or leaving a like or giving a share. And it's like, damn, like look at this train that we've committed to and created, and it's just going to keep going and going and going. And then I sat down and I did like this kind of dialogue with another streamer who we did that, or who I did that to. I did that to him, and then we actually wound up playing games together. And I talked to him, and he was like, man, imagine if you went and did this like once a week, and you just started gaining followers because of it, and then other streamers started doing the same thing that you're doing and said, oh, like, look, so and so left you stars, so now all we want you to do is go and like your community to go show another person love, and you create like a chain link of streamers that have gone and shown love. So like, say I went and showed you love, right? So then you went and showed another person love, and you're like, oh, Save showed love to Putch, and Putch showed love to Jordan, and Jordan went and showed love to so and so, and you just create this whole link of people that have shown love to. So now when you go into somebody else's chat, they have 20 fucking streamers that have shown love, and now everybody's like clicking on those streamers to see who they are, and you like become this big massive streamer because of this. And it was all because of your love and empathy. It would be insane to create something like that. And I did it for a little bit of marketing issues, but the biggest reason that I started doing that was because I wanted to show people that, bro, like Jordan was in here one night when we did it. I've gone back and looked at clips of what it was like when I first started streaming in this house alone. But when I first started streaming, I didn't have a camera, I didn't have a microphone. I was streaming straight off my Xbox. Like I had nothing. And then when I moved into this house, I had like this chair that's behind me, like a fucking table chair, and a fucking plastic fold-out table with a microphone that crackled so you could barely hear what the fuck I was saying. And then we moved to like this production with high quality, like a nice high quality camera. I have a PC now that I can game on and stream at the same time, with a brand new desk and have the lights and all. Like, I wanted to show people like this, just because this is where you're starting is not going to be where you finish.
Exactly.
You are going to progress. And a lot of people don't understand that your viewer count is going to say zero for a very long time. There's still times today where my viewer count says zero. Like I've seen days where my fucking viewer count says 12. I've seen where it says 25. I've been as high as 250 viewers in my chat before. And
God damn.
there's still days where I see zero.
Mhm.
But I know that I have love for this. I know that I'm impactful, and I know that people that are in my chat impact me as well. And I will never stop doing this. I don't give a fuck, bro. I stream while Peanut's here sleeping. I stream while Peanut's not here. I stream during the day. I stream pretty much whenever the fuck I can. There's days where I do feel off and I don't want to stream, but it is a job essentially, and there's days where you want to take
Oh yeah,
a time off. You know what I mean?
bro. Hey, dude, we gotta do these podcasts more often. We gotta set up like a fucking date or something, dude.
You tell me. I'm always ready. I'm sure. I'm sure. So here's what I want to do. I want to get you because you have Discord, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I used to.
Well, you have a laptop, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what you're streaming off of right now.
No, I'm using my phone.
Okay. Well, there's like 2 or 3 other gentlemen that I want to get in. Like I want you to talk to, and that I want to get involved with. And I think it would be dope if we did like a 4-man podcast together, like
Yeah.
one episode. But I want to get on a Discord call with you guys first, and kind of all of us have a conversation, just so you can feel them out too. But they are awesome individuals, and they have conversations just like how you and I have. And I think it would be dope to kind of get them involved. So I'll hit you with like a day or time for us to all get together and do that. But I think it would be great for your podcast and great for my stream as well to do that. People in my stream already know who they are as well. So I think we should do that next. I think we should do another one of these episodes. And because you've opened up to being a little bit more controversial, and I have no choice now but to have opened up because we did what we did tonight.
We said nothing crazy. We said nothing crazy, dude. We said nothing crazy. We tiptoed the line there though, a little bit.
But I don't know. I kind of said that. I kind of said some outlandish shit, but
hey, it's a fair point. It was a fair. I know exactly what you're thinking, and it's a fair point. That's like, well,
fair point to you.
Well, fuck them, dude. That's all I can tell you, bro. Is just fuck. Like you're not gonna satisfy everybody. There's just you're not. Again, you couldn't be your authentic self, and I want to see Cisco be Cisco, man. Like, yeah, of course, like because I know you care about how people feel. I know you care about how people think and perceive you, and in a sense, how they perceive you. You don't want to be perceived as a bad person because you're not a bad person. You go out of your way. You go out of your way to be a good person. So there is that feeling, and it's like. So fuck them, dude. Fuck 'em. They will come to the realization when they continue to see your name floating around in the Facebook world and everywhere, and when you reach the heights and the sensations that you want to take this stream to, dude. Like they'll realize like that they've misjudged you, dude. And the benefit is for them is that you're somebody who is reasonable enough to be like, hey, just come back to the stream. Just hey, come back. Welcome back. Well, good to see you back. And for me too. People can disagree, whatever, and that's fine. They have the right to disagree, right? And I'm glad that
you're goddamn right they do.
Yeah, and I'm glad we can disagree on things because it gives me a reason to say, well, why do you feel the way that you feel, right? Or let me explain to you the way that I feel, the way that I feel.
Next time, I think that we should talk about topics that we do disagree on.
Okay, like what?
I don't know. I don't know. We gotta find. You're not text. Here and there. So we gotta find something that we disagree on and have. And as soon as we find that topic, we'll be like, okay, hold on. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about it in a podcast and be organic about it. So that way, there's no like prior discourse. Like we gotta and make it organic so people can see what an actual conversation is about, disagreeing with each other and how it can be resolved. And maybe one of us will change our minds, maybe one of us won't. But if we don't, maybe people will still see like, okay, there's humanity, there's good people in this world that can disagree and still be fucking friends and do things together.
You know what? I'll do a fucking IG submission for just debate topics.
Oh, hell yeah. If you do, okay, do that, and then I'll look through the ones that you post and I'll be like, okay, this is how I feel about this one, this is how I feel about this one, this is how I feel about this one. And then if we find one that we disagree on, we'll be like, okay, boom, and then we'll do it like an actual debate, and we'll both like prepare notes and write down how we feel about shit and topics that we want to, points that we want to bring up, and then debate like that. Boom! I think that would be perfect, bro. Like an actual debate about shit.
Yeah, and it'd be cool too, because like I just think that by the end of it all, you know, I think that's part of it all. It will be by the end of it all, they'll see two men who've had a discussion and a debate openly amongst our peers, right? Openly, like this is live, like you know what I mean, like this is live. So openly amongst our community and amongst our peers, and work it out, and actually have done some research and have things to rebuttal or whatnot. Yeah, we'll get into some shit, man. Hey, dude, is there anything you want to leave the fucking smoking section with? Dude, we did 2 hours, and I got
2 hours, bro.
Fat shit, dude.
I just want to tell people, if you guys don't know, this is Corpse. If you guys can, please go make sure you guys subscribe to his podcast. He is on every podcast channel you could ever think of: Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, fucking Anchor, whatever, anything that plays fucking podcast, this man is on. So make sure you guys check him out. Corpse, KORPSX, like you see right here on my shirt. Make sure you guys show him some love. Make sure you guys check out Corpse Collection on Facebook, Corpse Collection on Instagram, Corpse Collection on YouTube. Give this man a subscription, follow. Make sure you guys hit the bell, turn on all notifications. Make sure you turn on story notifications so you guys can see whenever he posts a story. We are working on some more merch. I promise you that it will be coming as soon as we figure things out financially. There's some things that I got to work out, guys. You guys know I'm fucking dry on fucking money. But yes, as soon as we fucking come up with it financially, we will be dropping more merch. So make sure you guys give this man a follow. He has been very big in my life for the last 5 to 6 years, and I appreciate him for that. He's going through his own journey. He talks about it on his podcast. He talks about a lot of things on his podcast. He talks about it on his Instagram. If you guys want to see his son is absolutely beautiful. So make sure you guys check him out. Like I said, Corpse Collection on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure you check out his podcast, The Smoking Section, on everywhere that you guys can get a podcast. This is Putch, Corpse. Love him. Follow him in dance. He's absolutely huge in the crump community as well. This man does fucking everything. Like, you guys don't understand. So make sure you guys give him a follow. You guys can find his links in my Instagram as well. So anything you have to say, bro?
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for who you are, and I'm thankful that you're alive. And I hope that we continue to thrive in this world, brother. Yeah.
Hey, you and me both, bro.
And you know, dude, before we go, people got to understand, and I need to say this and make this abundantly clear. You need people like Cisco in your life. Yeah. People who are willing to have open discussions and challenge ideas. It'll not only make you a better person, but it'll also help you see the world with a different lens. And everyone needs that. We need to be always able to see through somebody else's eyes. Yeah. I hope you keep moving in grace, brother. And I'm your number one fan, man. And everybody, if you do have a chance, follow my man Jordan Locklear. Yeah. Find him on Facebook, Instagram. He's on Twitter, my man 910 Superman. My fucking dude. If you need a dedicated, not only if you're an artist or somebody who's got something going on, he will support your shit. If he fucks with you, he's gonna support your shit.
That's
if you need somebody who's an awesome friend, I've known him a very long time. Please check him out. Save1 Gaming, Facebook, streaming on YouTube as well. How are you breaking that up nowadays? Are you switching back and forth?
No, I'm doing it on both platforms right now. So what Facebook has done, so I stopped Facebook for almost a month, and then they messaged me and they messaged a bunch of other streamers as well that they were gonna double your star earnings every month. So I was like, you know what, let me fuck with Facebook. And then Jordan had messaged me and he was like, I think that you should stream on both platforms because I have 900 followers on Facebook and I have 91 subscribers on YouTube. So he was like, I don't think everybody that you stream to on Facebook understands that you stream on YouTube. So what you need to do is stream on Facebook a little bit, kind of keep putting it out that you're streaming on YouTube until you gain that following a little bit more. And I plan on staying on YouTube full time. So until that following grows a little bit more, I'll be on both platforms.
Catch him, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe button, hit it. My man, I promise you guys, everyone who hears this, there's more coming. If you thought today was wild, it's going to only get crazier. I thought we did okay. I didn't think we got too crazy. My man, Cisco, I love you, brother. Thank you for doing this again, man. I'll holler at you right now, too.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
All right, brother. One love.
All right, bro. One love.